Good day, everyone. As you can see, it's event time. Now, unfortunately, that meant we have to wait till maintenance to end. And sometimes they can take their time with that. However, I decided, well, I was initially thinking, well, I guess I could just stream tomorrow. However, it kind of feels bad to not go ahead and start the event on my alt the moment it begins, just because it's going to take so much longer to go through it on my alt. See, you have an advantage when you go through an event for the second time that you didn't have the first, and that is you've already collected the event seeds, and presumably since at least a year has passed, your account's a lot stronger, and all this means that the fights are going to be better for you, and most of all, point drops and shop materials, or shop currency, is going to be much higher drop rate for you. Not to mention that they often buff the drop rate for items, or generally make the event a bit easier on the rerun than it was in its initial run. And in this case, they buffed the drop rates for the shop mats and upped the point rewards for event servants by 10% across the board. Now, if you'll recall, last time we finished London, and instead of starting America, I said it would be a good opportunity, since the event was starting in a couple days, to take the time to try and take advantage of the anniversary and having all the dailies at half AP for a few days left, to see what kind of leveling I could get for our team. Now, I didn't get quite as far as I would have liked, unfortunately, but we did make some progress. As you can see, Heracles is max level, Cetonai has all three of her skills available now. I could have kept going and went ahead and taken her to 80. Now, it will be a long while before I can max ascend her and get her to 90. However, my highest priority was getting access to a third skill, because that is an important part of a kit. We max ascended and leveled Hans, and we even were able to level his skills a bit. Not nearly as far as we would like, but beggars can't be choosers, and unfortunately, while the dailies do help, their drop rates aren't the most spectacular thing in the world. I actually decided against leveling ascending David again, instead choosing to work on leveling his second skill. And since his second skill is his most important support skill, I prioritize getting us an actual archer DPS ready, as opposed to trying to grab his charisma, which is his final skill. So we have Robin Hood here at third ascension. Unfortunately, like Ushi, his third skill, which is also an evade, is locked behind a rank up quest that's only unlocks when you fully ascend it. So, fortunately, it's going to be a bit before we can do that. However, he should definitely be passable for the moment. Of course, Mash is up to 60. Now, I wanted to send Lan Ling here to get his third skill, which is also a very important skill because it's really good team support. But unfortunately, I found myself 2 feathers short. And despite being granted some of these feathers, just playing through the story, unfortunately they are one of the single most nightmarish materials to farm before you've beaten Arc 1 of the story because, well, quite frankly, there really is no place to farm them. The best nodes that you have to pick from has a drop rate of about 17%. And that's if the enemy that can hold them, which are the Amazons, even show up in the node in the first place, which is also RNG. So unfortunately, we're too short to doing that and getting his third skill. His usefulness is going to shoot up quite a bit when we get access to that third skill. Even more when we can actually level them. So it's amusing that I have plenty of the monuments. And, well, I don't have plenty of these, but I have enough for this at least. And we came in short on that. Luckily, the fights in this event, most of the free quests in this event can drop the feathers, so we should be okay in that regard. Ushi, unfortunately, has a similar issue where not only do I not have the monuments, but I also lack the horseshoes, which are similar to the feathers. However, they're not nearly as bad because in Camelot at least, there's a decent node to grind for them once we clear through Camelot. Whereas for the feathers, you have to go all the way to Arc 1.5 to find the best node for it. And the 1.5 arcs, depending on how stout your team is, can be even more difficult than the bloody Lost Belts, which is the proper Arc 2 of the story. Besides that, we didn't accomplish anything else except leveling these guys with some leftover embers just to get started on them. It's going to be a while before they're properly usable though, unfortunately. So that's how we stand at the moment. As you can see, this is something they started doing fairly recently, at least in NA. Of course, it's been a while in JP, where the welfare servant for an event will get will gain double their EXP, double the amount of EXP. So, for example, normally this would give you 32,400 EXP, but the welfare will get 64,800 EXP instead. So that's very helpful to raise her on up really quickly once we acquire her. Now, I think that's enough jibber jabber for now. Or as for friend point summons and like, I've not done any Saint Quartz rolls. I've, as I said I would, I stopped where I said we would. Oh, here are the new banners that are up. So, between these two 4 stars, now Ushi's not terrible. I'm pretty sure I went over in more depth in a previous stream, but just a reminder, she's certainly not a bad unit. It's just she's not spectacular. And there's a 3-star AoE Quick Assassin, both of them AoE Quick Assassins, that sort of outshines her. Or at the very least, she doesn't provide anything that they don't. And in fact, they actually have a more damaging NP because it's upgraded. And will be NP5. Joffin here, Jean Archer, is a very good unit. So she's definitely worth rolling for if you like Jean, if you need an AoE Archer. She's arts as well. She's got a good MP battery of she's got an MP battery at 40%, similar to Ushi, which is awkward for both of them. But at the very least, hers comes with something besides just the battery. And then, if you like Ibaraki, which a lot seem to do, this is definitely the better of the 2 versions of it you can get currently in the game. Now this is obviously limited, so you'll have either now or in October to roll for her. But she's one of the best 4-star single target lancers in the game. So she's very good. She's Buster, of course. This, I'm pretty sure I went over before. Dantes is the sort of the famous Scotty Looper in the double Scotty comps, but he has to have high MP level. Robin Hood is one of the best 3-stars in the game easily. Caster Gilgamesh is a very solid unit that really he buffs up Yacht's team quite a bit and makes even the Yacht cards generate a lot of crit stars. So he's really good for art crit units. And when he gets his MP upgrade, he starts doing some arcade damage with his Noble Phantasm as well. Now, unfortunately, despite his Noble Phantasm having a high hit count, the MP gain off it is not the most impressive thing in the world. Similar to the story quests, I'm going to skip the cutscenes here because they would take an actual eternity. Event cutscenes are typically pretty extensive. Welcome to Servant Fest 2020. Rerun, of course. And now, so the way welfares work is very early on, typically like this, the very first node, you will be given a temporary copy of her. Now, I'll repeat, you will be giving a temporary copy of the welfare early on, so you can play with them and try them out, and get attached to them through the story. But if, say, you grab her here, and then you turn around and you don't play the event, when the event ends, they're going to go bye-bye. Now, luckily, it's not that difficult to make them permanent, and this will tell you as well. Yeah, by clearing a certain quest in the event. Basically, this is the initial part of the story. If you clear the first part of the story, the welfare will officially join. Typically, events are separated, the event stories is separated into the first part of the story, and then you clear it, fight a big boss, epilogue, where you're rewarded the welfare servant permanently, And then in the second week, after the time gate, 7 days in, the second part of the story, or the bonus part, will unlock. And that is where you can go through and do more difficult fights to unlock more copies of the welfare. Now that's if the event isn't a mission-based event. Those can be a bit different, at least in the acquiring of extra copies. As long as you play through the event and do the story and complete most of it, you should pretty easily get all 5 copies of the welfare. Also, one thing that helps, that makes welfares just so bloody good, is the fact that this is where I needed to go. Their ascension mats. Wait, I went to the wrong thing again. There we go. Their ascension materials aren't like other servants. They're event items. Which also means you need to play through the event if you want to max level the servant. You don't want them to be stuck at, say, level 70 or something out of 80. Or even worse, like level 60 or something, and not even have all 3 of their skills. That would be quite unfortunate. So, luckily they're not going to take any of your pieces and monuments. Now their skills level just like a normal servant's, but the ascension mats, at least, you're good to go as long as you play the event. Now here's a first big fight. Well, I'm not sure I'd say it's a big fight. Also, notice this, an event bonus filter. What you can do here is you can say, oh, I only want event servants, so block that out. And then it will filter all event servants, or all servants that don't either get an event bonus inherently, or that doesn't have an event craft essence on them. In this case, she has both. Now as for other things, if you want to quickly find event servants, you can click this, and it will pull up said servants. We only have 3 of them available, unfortunately, which is Mash, Robin Hood, and this temporary Jolter. And as for event CEs, it's the same way. They don't, we don't have any, which is sad, but that's just the way it is sometimes. Okay, so this particular event, looking at it on paper, can be quite scary. Look fairly complex and unwieldy. And to be fair, it is, especially to a new player, it can be a bit confusing. First event, and one of the more gimmicky events, I guess you could say. Well, I will attempt to better explain as we get out of this fight. Our first fight is against a big chicken. Yes, a big berserker chicken. I'm just as amused as you are. Luckily, he's a berserker. He only has 54k health, so easy as. There's a born level for Robin Hood. Alright. Now after this, there'll be one more fight, and then we are through the intro, so to speak, and more into the event proper. And when we do that, I will attempt to explain how it works. So, in this fight, we have a mob of 3 weak saber enemies, and then a second wave with 2 weak saber enemies, and a rider boss servant. So, all we would like here is an AoE, but no real luck. Caster Gilgamesh is, of course, any servant that's in the summoning pool for this the event generally gets an event bonus. Yes, we'll just we'll grab Shiki. They seem to be fans of Yuria. Now, luckily, events typically, unless they're locked behind a late story singularity, then generally the events will start out very easy, so you can work your way out. Which is quite fair, I should say. Because generally, if you're qualified for an event that's really late in the story, their thinking would be, obviously, well, yeah, you built your team up enough that they was able to get you that far, so you should be okay. Which, of course, if you, like, grabbed a mate's Heracles and used them to solo through the story or something, now you might be in a bit of a pickle. But even then, your sport list can carry you through a lot of events. It just, you may struggle when it comes to getting the drops at a decent pace. Right. Alright, and as you can see, Master quests have rerolls. So we have a new set of weekly quests. It's about this time when they do so every week. Okay, and now we're rewarded a copy of the 3-star event craft essence. Make sure to lock these just to help you differentiate them if nothing else. And you also don't want to accidentally ban them. Now, as this explains, this has a unique story progression, or a day-night cycle progression system in this event. So, what this basically, each day is separated into the day and night. Well, duh. However, day is separated into 2 parts, whereas the first part is story part, as you can see here. So as where any story quests that are available you can do, And then after that will be a free part where you can do a free quest to pass the day over to night. And then night, of course, is the same thing, where the first part of it will be story part. So the next, if you're qualified for the next part of the story, you'll be able to do it. And then after that, you do a free quest to pass the day. So until 6 days. So you notice it says day 1. There are 7 days, so this goes by cycles, not only a day-night cycle, but each day obviously has a 4-part cycle, so 2 parts of day, 2 parts of night. Then it'll go to day 2, and then repeat, 2 parts a day, 2 parts at night. When it gets to day 7 is when there will be a reroll, and then after that it cycles back to day 1. So okay. This event has a points ladder. So besides these 3 shop currencies, there are also 3 different point types, point ladders. And as you get more of each type of points, you shoot up the ladder and can unlock rewards for doing so. Each of them capping at the final reward at 1 million for each of them. So story quests, up to a certain point, start to be gated behind having a certain amount of total points, and that's all 3 combined together. And which means it's really not that bad adding all 3 of the points to get point ladders together. So what this means is, say we go through and we get to, there's a story event, a story quest on day 4, but you need 250,000 points in total to unlock it, but we're only at 230 are known. So what it does is we pass that up, where we do anything that's available afterwards, and then we cycle back to day 1 and go back through, and by that point we'll easily have over 250,000 points, and then it'll unlock. So basically, if you muck up a bit and you're a bit lower on points to unlock the next story chapter, no worries, just go through the cycle. Now it may waste you some more AP or another apple or so, but it's okay. You come back through and you'll get it on the next time. So yeah, it could be a little sketchy to head around, especially if it's your first event, so no worries. Even people that have been playing a while got tripped up in this particular event, but just take it slower and keep working on your points and you'll be alright. The key is just try and keep track of having event servants in your party, which is why we added these 3 in. So now just having these 3 in our party, we will get event points, a bonus to point drops. And then with the craft essences, we will get bonus to the actual shop materials. Well, when it comes to summon campaign craft essences, we get bonus to, so these, yeah, these 3 right here, or these 3 right here. We will get bonuses to ticket drops, which are the shop mats and the 3 coins. And then for point drops, well, those are the welfare CEs that we get for just doing the event. So, and luckily one of those is Painted Summer, which is a very good which is a very good arts craft essence with 50% starting MP. So that's our big goal. Our big goal is getting all 5 copies of that and all 5 copies of Jalta, as well as being able to max level her, because she'll help our team quite a bit. Even though we already have like Heracles, because they do different things. He does medium damage over a sustained period of time, and she does big burst damage over a couple turns. So it depends on what you need. In longer fights, he's going to outdo, but if you need to quickly blow something up, she's your last. Plus, who doesn't love Jalta? Jalta fans are one thing, of course, but that's not the character's fault. Now, let us proceed. And as you can see, there was actually a quest available below us. And we will actually pivot and do that right quick. I definitely recommend hopping on that, because that is a spatial quest that unlocks a second Mystic card for us. This one in particular, Tropical Summer, is the best Arts Mystic card in the game. You can really juice up your Arts units with it. So I definitely recommend grabbing on that. Let's just have a little archer fun, I guess. And slot this. Of course, this only increases one of the build drops, so it won't really affect us here. But much smaller chickens. So we'll just go take a swing at them. Now you do have to watch out, the little buggers will crit the daylights out of you if you're not careful, and the berserkers, so crits hurt quite a bit, but luckily they're quite low health. So the basic cycle of this event will be, let's go ahead and do this, I guess. Will be do whatever story quest is available, and then do a couple free quests to pass to the next day. Well, depending. Basically, it is do a couple. Typically, it'll be a couple free quests in between story chapters, at least for a bit. Will be the rhythm you'll get into. And a big chicken. Either of them would kill, but so he's going to do massive damage because of the poison. But the second one would get an even bigger boost from that damage because the bonus damage shoots up even more with an overcharge. There we go. So there's where the feathers come from. One more of those and we can get Lon Ling's third skill. That's what we're hoping for. Now, free quests. There are several tiers of free quests in every event. Starting out from just really super weak. And there's our lovely little mystic card. Now for the next story fight. Ooh, something surprising. I'll go ahead and tell you. This is a fight against a foreigner. Foreigners are weak to alter egos and other foreigners. Take neutral damage from pretty much everyone else. And take half damage from berserkers. They deal double damage to berserkers and other foreigners. So for example, grabbing my Jolter here would not be the best of ideas, unfortunately. However, what would we grab here? I'm going to do this because I have an idea. Wonder if we can do this. Yeah. I don't need this. Okay, so here's the plan. Oh bugger, but I need... This is fine. We don't have to one-turn her. So my idea is letting Cedar Knight have at it since she's an alter ego. This is one of those rare occasions I have something that counts as a foreigner. I'll put this here just for very slight stats. We'll put Heracles in the back like he's meant to be. We could try out a new arts mystic card. Oh, this is going to be your first encounter with a boss that has break bars. However, don't let them scare you, because this is one of those semi-scripted fights where you just have to break the first health bar. So for all intents and purposes, she has 72k health. Well, it's 73k, let's be honest. She's missing 2. So normally you'd break that and then it would refill and be purple. She would get an effect of some sort, typically. And then this one would be black because we got that tick off. And then we'd have to break that one, and then she'd have a regular red health bar after that. So technically she has 3 health bars, so we'd have to break her twice and then kill her again to really put her down, if this was a real fight. However, in this case, it isn't. Now, this Mystic card, pretty sure I've already went over this before, but this first skill juices up your art's effectiveness and your MP strength. So it's a multiplicative boost out of one skill. Just really lovely. This is really handy for arts crit units because it makes your arts cards slurp up all those crit stars really quickly. And then this one increases buff removal resist, which can be handy. But the big point is it's a 10% battery that, while not the biggest thing, does come in handy from time to time. In fact, I wonder... yeah, unfortunately, it won't be enough. However, we should pretty easily get for next turn. Now, Caster Gill. I really never use him. Feels kind of bad. This bugger, he spooked me 3 bloody times. It's the darndest thing. He and Cersei just love to keep showing up. He has a nice charisma and nice arts up, as well as debuff chance. I think earlier I may have accidentally said he has a buff success rate up, but it's a debuff success up. And I feel like everyone... I'm certainly not the only one to make that mistake. It's kind of funny how often I've seen other people make it. It's just one of those strange things. Now. Let's go ahead and juice up our defense a bit. Let's make our attack mash. Just because we can. Now, what to do here? Actually, we're going to lead off with Buster. Now we should get enough gauge from this. So as you can see, she's packing a lot more heat than she was. Little Cedo Knight. Now luckily, because Double X here can invuln herself, which can be a bit annoying. Luckily, that's not the case here. She doesn't have an arts card to provide crit stars with, but oh well. I'm going to assume that won't kill. That'd be pretty funny though. And guess end with an arts. Now we go into Overgauge, which is sort of similar to Overkill, where you just get a lot more charge. Also, 30 crit stars off of that GMP10. It's pretty nice. Okay, after that is when we're introduced to free quests. Alright, so as I was saying earlier about free quests in events, they have multiple tiers of difficulty. So do not feel bad if you're on a new account or an unlucky account. And see, they have a level 20, level 50, level 80. Now, these are roughly equivalent to each other, so the recommended level here basically just means just have your units max leveled and you'll be okay. So yeah, despite there being two different ones, this doesn't mean, oh no, if I don't have a 5-star unit then I'm SRL. No, that's not what these mean at all. They basically just mean, hey, have your units actually properly leveled to do these. Now, this being said, unfortunately, yes, the easier fights will have much lower drop rates. And that's sadly unavoidable. But sometimes there's nothing else you can do. And as you can see, we have here's our point ladders. So you have motivation, technique, and imagination. 3 different types of points. And the goal is, ultimately, if you want to 100% the event, is to get them each to 1,000,000 points. Which definitely sounds like a lot, but in the second half of the event, there are going to be raid battles that show up, and they start dropping a lot of each of these. So, one thing you'll learn about events is the better drop rate nodes always open up in the second half of the event. So don't go wasting all your fruits on the early stuff where you're not gaining anything worth a dime. And now when it comes to event shop, general recommendations are, so here you can see rewards you get for the point ladders, and you can go, you can see all the way up. Here is your target if you just want to complete each of the craft essences. You have to get it to 800k, and then taking it up to 1,000,000 you get a crystallized lore. Now crystallized lore is what you use to take one of the servant's skills from rank 9 to 10, which means you need 3 to 10 them. Luckily there are 3 ladders here with 3 lores. Now, when it comes down to it, this is the one we would want to focus the most on this account, because we really want all 5 copies of Painting Summer. So when it comes to these this event's the welfare craft essences, 3 of them will be gotten from the event shop. 200 tickets each, and each of the craft essences take a different color ticket. So it'll take 600 tickets total of these red ones to unlock 3 copies of Painting Summer. And then we'll need to get to 800,000 technique to guarantee we get the last 2 copies. Now the 4th copy actually comes really early on. I think it's 100k, yeah. So we'll have 4 copies really early on. It's just unfortunate that now you need 700k more to get the 5th copy. However, each free quest node has a chance of dropping a copy of one of these event craft essences. It's never a good chance, but you're going to be doing the free quests enough that generally you're typically going to get at least 1 drop of some sort of craft essence. And if you're really hammering on the events, you're going to get a few. It just may not be the exact ones you want, unfortunately. Now, unfortunately, the craft essence drops, at least for these early free quests, on this version and this version, there's no chance for a drop of it. It has to be one of these 40 AP ones that actually drops, that has a drop chance. Also, generally, the type of craft essence that drops is also the one that you would want to use to actually gain points on that very node. So for example, this node drops motivation, and the craft essence that boosts that up is... no, it's not this one, it's this one. Is this one. So this is the craft essence that can drop from this particular node. If you want to look that stuff up, you can go to the Fate Grand Order fandom wiki. Also, a handy thing for events is to go to GamePress.gg's Grand Order section, because they actually do a decent job on easy to follow event walkthroughs. I wouldn't listen to the servant reviews, unfortunately, because those are quite hit or miss, with unfortunately a lot more misses than hits, and they can unfortunately get some really weird misunderstandings about servants spreading around the community pretty easily. But their event guides are very useful, especially when you're starting out and you don't really know how any of this works. Now I'm actually curious if we could actually take this node. No, there's no way. It would be very difficult. We'll do the silver one to be safe. If we had access to a friends list archer that wasn't I just think it's better to be safer. Also, a very handy thing you can do is use an event and go a bit event bonus filter. So this is good because generally if they've changed the friends list or the support list to be full of event servants and event craft essences and the like, that means they're very active about playing the game and they're on the ball with this stuff. So it's a good way to find active players to add to your friends list. So this is their second run through, since they already have an MLB Painted Summer. We'll go ahead and do this number. We'll get David back in here. Also, these 3-star event craft essences can be gotten from friend points. So hopefully you'll get some drops of those early on. Alright, let's see what happens. Unfortunately, we can't use our Noble Phantasm on this Jolfin, but hopefully they'll accept our friend request. That's what I was getting at, by the way. You can find people that are active, and hopefully you can friend request some of them and they will actually accept, even if you're a newer player. Because if the friend list isn't full, typically someone wouldn't mind adding, at least for a little while, a newer account just to help them out. It really depends though. It's definitely a bit of a lottery. Let's try to get Robin's MP pretty quickly.
では了解了解光よひそやかにそらよしと
Ah, bugger.
そうだね仕込みは上々ええそらよしと
So as you see, they drop points, they drop tickets. And they drop these drop bullets, which unfortunately, since those are lost belt materials, only quite new servants TNA will require them, so it's very unlikely that you have anyone that needs them. But they're very likely to be useful in the future. Also, I didn't explain when I started this stream, unfortunately, because I did my typical rambling. However, the plan here is just to get started on this event and try to explain it for people that may be starting out that are new, and do just a short stream since it's starting so late, unfortunately.
行きましょう。では、リースホーリーレイ。そらよしと。ひらめき重なり。
Yeah, right. So here we get David's MP as well. As you see, even this one has a fairly stout servant in it. The next one up, the reason I'm a bit about that is even the base enemies have around 12 to 16,000 health, or even 18,000. Then there's a mini boss mob in the second wave that's got just under 75,000 HP, and then the boss, the servant in the last wave, is over 200,000 HP. And of course it gets even worse when you do the... well, it's not that much worse, because generally if you can handle one, you can handle the other. But... I'd be more comfortable doing it if we had a better friends list choices. Like if she could use her MP, it would be very lovely, but it's not the case. Okay, that's a nice poison. Now, people that decry Robin will generally be like, oh, well, the poison missed, so now he sucks. But, and true, it is very frustrating when the poison misses. Although it's not all that often that it does. But luckily there are ways to rectify that. There are two command codes and you can slap on his cards. And as far as I know, there's no other Sera in the game that really benefits off of poisoning the enemy like he does. So they're basically just for him. There's really no worry about slapping them on Robin if you've got him levels. And thinking, oh no, someone else might need them. Unfortunately, they both come from events, which you, if you're new, you've obviously not done. But it's just the way it is sometimes, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and give us a... Davey doesn't count as good. He's probably neutral, actually. So we're going to juice Robin up a bit. Actually, depending on how this does. Remember, this is a level 60 Robin that's not even attack forward. Unfortunately. Now he is going to get overcharge from David's NP here, which is something I intentionally attempted to set up. We'll go ahead and we'll use her Buster. So he should get quite a bit of bonus damage. Skill Steal's nice. That was actually better damage than I expected from David. Yeah. As you can see, this is a very gimped Robin, and he still did 188,000. In that case, we actually may be alright when it comes to doing a more difficult free quest. Now, they're not going to be a walk in the park, of course, but I believe we might be able to swing it. We won't know until we try. Nice getting some more saber pieces. That's a decent amount of tickets. So as you see, we're getting rewards just for getting the points, and they come very quickly, especially early on. Like, look at this, 500,000 QP. That's beautiful. These are really nice to grab. Now these stingers are actually not available for us typically until we get to Babylonia, story-wise, because that's where the enemies that drop them start really popping up. But thanks to this event, we have access to them a bit early, and I'll go ahead and do that. Probably should have checked the entire list, but it's better to check and double check. So now, as you see, we're at night, the free section part of night. We have another Saint Course. So free quests generally, for this event at least, it's basically stick to the same free quest until you can purchase a copy of the points craft essence. So in this case, Foxy Lady, and this is actually quite a handy craft essence because it's gives you passive MP gen, 4% each turn. Now this is pre-MLB, of course. You have 15% MP strength, which is very lovely, and a wee bit defensive with some damage cut. Now, unfortunately, it's all HP, which adds to the defensiveness, I suppose. But you generally prefer full attack stat on craft essences. But new account, we can't be too picky, so all of these will be fairly handy. But again, this is our baby. This is what we want. Painting Summer. I'm actually going to do something. So Foxy Lady is the craft essence we need. Wait, no, not Foxy Lady. Watershine. Watershine gives you sure hit, so it ignores evasion, increases critical damage by 15%, and you possibly gain 3 crit styles per turn. That's actually really handy. It's also a full attack CE. Sure hit's very lovely thing, a very handy thing to have. We may already have it on him, but I'm going to double check. Actually, I can check here, I suppose. On my Robin. What do I have on there? It really is a shame that these ones that I'm followed only work in story. Yeah, we have Foxy Lady on him. We need to swap that with Jolter there. I was going to put Painting Summer on him just so we could MP better. I wonder if that still may be the thing to do. I'll just minimize that. Okay, let's make a mistake, shall we? See, now he has Watershine, which that's a chunk of attack at least. I obviously haven't spent. This is what it was just from being MLB'd, so I didn't spend any extra effort into leveling it. But sure hit, 20% crit strength, and then 4 crit styles per turn. So the goal is charge some MP, and just hope we don't die. Now, I'm really tempted to do this probably. Like, she boosts the points so much just for being in the party. Same with Marsh. I'm debating on whether David or Hans would be better here. See, I've leveled Hans, but unfortunately he's super gimped. Not even just because we don't have him 10-10-10, because this is workable. Like, this is still going to have decent effects on a party, but this is the issue. He's MP1, And his MP rank is his activation chance of all of these buffs. Right now, they're pitiful. Most of them will miss every time. And that's the big sad. Like, even if he was MP2, that would help quite a bit. But we just cannot get a second copy of him to save our lives. Okay, I think this should... We'll never know if we don't try. Okay, the enemies are going to be much bigger now. Okay, let's go ahead and do this because we definitely want that MP gain. We want to do this. Okay. Actually going to attempt to take this bloke down. Not quite. Okay, they went 2 of our evades, but they helped get us some more crit stars. No crit there. We're not getting any charge on this Robin, which is very concerning. We have... Okay. Yes, it's better to... Oh, bugger. Oh, double bugger. If I knew this would kill him... But that one has double attack. It'd be... I don't want that one if it led off. Okay, they would have finished. Well, I don't know because that one's 10 levels higher. And no worries. Wasn't even a thing. Now the goal is we want to... Thankfully the poison hit. So what we want to do is blow up the ores because they can do some damage if you're not careful. Didn't quite finish it, unfortunately. We're still like what, MP3, so luckily we were able to solve that on the back end. Now he's got lowered attack. We need to finish him before he gets his extra attack off, but I would like to get try to get some overcharge for our other Robin if I can. It wasn't to be. Let's just hope the poison hits. Otherwise we'll be in quite the mess. As you can see, things get a bit real here. You can look at our drops there. I've done that a few times, but I don't know if I've actually pointed it out before. Okay, the poison hit. See, she's divine, which means she has a bit of debuff res. So, unfortunately, there's a quite a bit less than 0 chance of the poison not working on her. Okay. We're just going to... We can't get... So as long as we don't die here, which we're archers, so we're taking half damage from... Ah, those crits, beautiful. Okay, that was a worthless thing she just did. It's fine, we take wasted turns. This is a bit overkill, but just to be safe. Okay, now he should easily do the rest of her health and damage. So with David, I'm going to try to blow up one of those buggers. I'm going to do this too, just to throw another buster in there just to be sure. So this, as long as the poison procs properly, we're good. Which kind of makes me wonder if I shouldn't save the other Robins. Good. And we'll get some damage on that one. Okay, I may have been a little overly paranoid here, but again, that's mostly because the poison worked. If it didn't... Actually, I should probably be using this one's poison first, since it comes back a turn quicker than this one does. On the second wave. I'm actually not certain now. On who would be the better support for this? I guess David's doing very fine. See, that's a really good point, game. As you can see, that tripled what we had before in one fight. That's how quickly these free quests ramp up. We got a lovely gold apple from it. But now, we're on our next part of story. Which is actually just a story only node. And then right back to doing 2 more free quests. So for this first week, this is basically what you'll be doing in this event. Is grabbing themes from, is switching between 3 quests, getting sharp CEs, and then moving on to the next free quest. So basically we'll farm Honolulu until we get 200 of these buggers, and then we'll use that to purchase a copy of Foxy Lady, and then we can equip Foxy Lady and go over to Waikiki Street, which is right here, and then we'll do those nodes. until we get 200 of the purple tickets. And we unlock a copy of Water Shine, which, as you can see, is what we need to up the drop rate from the node we're currently on. And we can basically swap backwards and forth between those two as we get. So then we go back to Honolulu and get a second copy of Lady Foxy. Back to Waikiki, another copy of Water Shine. Back to Honolulu, final copy of Foxy Lady. And you get the idea. But around that point is when we start working on this. At least that's the way they suggest doing it. So we'll just follow along for now. We need to do Honolulu a couple more times. Or some unspecified amount of times, rather. Just debating on David versus Hans here. Because Hans can... David's fine for a quicker fight. Hans, I feel, is more useful if the fight gets dragged out. It basically just depends if their poison hits or not. If it hits, then it should be a quicker fight. Meaning we're fine. If it doesn't... Okay, we got a little bit of gain, of MP gain. For this turn at least. See blue, press blue. But unlucky we took some damage there. We don't need your critting now. We need to start getting some MP gain on this Robin. He's feeling a little low. I should get Davey to 100%. This is really no good. I'm going to do something possibly a bit silly and try to tank the horse, but yeah, we'll see how the horse does us, because I want to see if we can with that buster. It's going to... Okay, damage wise, at least if it doesn't crit, it's not too bad. Hearts would be slightly better damage than one of them, but we'll get more crit stars. Okay. This one's getting a bit low, so an Arai crit would be quite worrisome. But it's a shame that Robin ended up with all the crit stars over there, considering they obviously have the same bloody star weight. Okay. Can we not hit this Robin, please? Oh, this is frustrating. I want this Buster crit on that one. I'll just put it last, I guess. Give it a little bit of boost in damage. I really wish we could get that to 6, so it'd come back a turn quicker, just for more safety, if nothing else. So yeah, this was a bit sketch. So I'm not sure it's worth trying to save the second poison, but we'll see. We'll see if one of these happens to fail. No, poisoned it. Actually, let me check. Altera. Oh, she has divinity, yes, but it's basic divinity, so it doesn't. No, she's got 17.5% debuff resistance from her passives. So she does have some bonus debuff resistance, it's just newer Divine Servants, they would combine that magic resistance with the divinity and name it something fancy. But since she was like a day 1 servant, they didn't do that. Okay. So here's where we Robin, David. Because there's no bloody way the 2 Robins are not going to kill her, surely. Yeah, that's 82k right there, with no overcharge, and only MP3, and missing over 1,000 attack. Easy as. And then this will trim down one of the little moblin enemies. So yeah, as long as we can get to this wave, we're sitting quite pretty. With our MPs charged, and the poison goes off. This is but the risk, of course, is if ever the poison doesn't proc, and we only have one cast of it at a time. Oh, there's an interlude. Unfortunately, there's no upgrades to it. $170. So one more of these, and we will have already been able to get our first shot craft essence. I think I'm going to try to Hans now. It may be a mistake, but I feel like it would be safer because Hans's HP regen will at least always hit. It's not one of the ones that has a chance to miss. It'd be nice to be able to summon from AFP and get a copy of Hans, actually. Part of me is even debating wait, I didn't want to. Why did I have that burning? I need to fix that. So part of me is even debating, and this is kind of silly, and this is a big waste, but part of me just out of sheer annoyance at how unlucky our FP rolls have been, is to use one of these rare prisms to get 100 friend point rolls. That's really dumb though. Don't do that unless you're a whale or something and you're just rolling naked in rare prisms. But the temptation is there. It just shouldn't be listened to. There's also this. We don't have nearly enough, but it would be nice to grab more attack bows. It would also be nice to grab some of these EXP embers and start working on Jolter. In fact, I think I will do that while these are available. This should pretty easily get her to her current level cap at the very least. In fact, we have to be careful. Yeah, right there, we'll get her to 30. And remember, we're still in anniversary, so we have triple success rate. So if that pops off on us, that's going to save us even more. We're actually getting remarkably unlucky. Yeah, I'm just going to pop that one on, because if this crits, it would just about do it. Look at that, just one of them would. So we're going to do these. That's pretty surprising, actually. Oh well. It's surprising we didn't get a single crit off of that. Okay, we have a Berserker foe, but this is for... Oh, right. Yeah, we don't want to... so we'll go ahead and... Now, really, you should foe a servant first because it's less QP needed. The higher their level is, the higher their upgrade costs are. So this actually wasted a bit of QP not to do this first. But I mean, it's just one, so it doesn't particularly matter. Just keep that in mind. And of course, we can't ascend her because we don't have one of her ascension items yet. I'm pretty sure they come from point rewards. Actually, I'm not sure if they come from point rewards or story quest rewards. Either way, we'll get them as we play. But now at least, if on some horrific occasion they start dying and we get to hit, she can actually put out a little bit of damage. She gets bonus damage in this event as well, so that's lovely. They should be getting bonus damage too, come to think of it. Never mind, it's just bonus points, so there's no bonus damage in this event. Some events, the event servants get bonus damage on top of whatever other bonuses they get. Also, we were going to try Hans. This may be a mistake just because David actually helps them kill the mobs. And Hans is much squishier because he doesn't take half damage from it. Yeah, I think we'll stick with David, actually. ABQ. Yeah. Now, MP gain wise, it would have been better to just to use all 3 arts cards, but I at least want to take one of these buggers out. Get a head start on that. 30% charge isn't dreadful. And now we can get gain for all of them. Let me go ahead and do this. To love the crit. Okay. You got really nice MP gain off of this start. Pretty sure it's very likely that this card would kill, so we're going to go ahead and get make sure David gets his MP here. Yeah, it even crit. That's lucky. So. There goes the potential mistake, but make sure the Robin gets his MP. David has a Brave Chain. David also has higher attack. What? I don't know. He's 10 levels lower, so he might not. But he probably does. I'll actually check. $58. Okay. Robin's he's not nearly as high as he should be, being 10 levels higher. But Robin is a bit stouter. Come on, poison. Good. It worked. Incidentally, luckily the poison emblem pops up here faster than the animation of it popping over her head pops. So you can sort of cut through the agony of having to wait by just keeping an eye here. Now we just David Robin.
じゃあやろうか。君には改心する権利がある。では仕掛けよう。試しあまり。
Get a nice skill steal. And that should do it just about. Actually shocked she's still up. We must have double low rolled. It's pretty impressive for luck actually. I ain't even mad. Okay, we don't have any skills up. Since we discovered the Rollins at least are out damaging him at this point, we'll do it this way. Also, fun fact, when it comes to event drops, some events have what's called experience craft essences, whose only job is to use as experience fodder to level your other craft essences. Now this comes back. Isn't that lovely? And if one of those drops, there'll be like a quick sparkle, and a golden chest will have a little sparkle in the corner. However, if it's one of the welfare event craft essences that drop, one of the ones you actually want, there'll be like a rainbow flash when it drops from the enemy, and then the gold chest will have a little rainbow, like circular icon on the corner of it. So that's a neat little thing to keep a lookout for, if you like, in an event. It's always a nice feeling when you see that rainbow drop. Okay, I think we've got a solid group here. Now, taking on the stronger one may be a bit of an ask, because the horse in the middle has about 10k more health, and then she would have about 30k more health. And then a Laurel here kept her alive. It may still be doable with what we have. But now we're over 200. Ah yes. Now we can ascend our precious Jolter. But first. So we get one early on in each of these, and then the last one comes from these tickets right here. So it's pretty easy to get her ascension mats. It should be no problem. Now we'll grab our copy of Foxy Lady. It will go to your box, your present box rather. Now you have nice Summer Osakata Hime. Or is it? So it'll auto lock because it's a gold craft essence. So now we're supposed to go over to Waikiki Street and farm for purple tickets to get Watershine. However, before that, we have another little story note. And then 2 waves with a bunch of sabers, where we have to use the guest support. No worries. And looky there, it's an archer. Unfortunately, they're not always this kind when it comes to force story supports to completely counterclass the enemies. If only they were, but sometimes they can be quite naughty. Iruka. She quite likes dolphins, it seems. We could just be using busters to clear this a lot quicker. There's no real need to get all AMP. Now, unfortunately, since her skill isn't all the way leveled, she doesn't have 40% charge. So actually, oops. Well, we have 10% charge right here though. So no worries. Poison has hit them all. Oh, it was still enough. Now, we're going to go and juice up Hairs as Zairi, she needs it. That being said, they probably have her at a high MP level. Or possibly. This is such overkill. I imagine Hairs will do the job. Here's just about it. Got some lovely tickets. Have a saber piece. If only that would come in useful for us. But we're already done with them for Long Lee, which is a good thing. Now monuments, not so much. Now we're back to the free part, where actually it's going to be a bit before our next story node that unlocks. So instead of 2 free quests in a row, we need to do 4. But we already know what to work on. Go to Akiki Street and now, as you see, the enemy class is Assassin. The drop CE on this particular node is Foxy Lady. The CE, rather. So, unfortunately, as you can see, assassins, which are weak to casters. What would be really lovely here is using Nidokiss. She's not an event CE and an event servant, unfortunately. So I'm debating what servant I could actually use here. Yeah, Gilgamesh is an option. He's not really DPS though, but he will support our other units, especially arts units. I need to switch him over to Foxy Lady though, if I do. There's Lady Foxy. Okay. Boy. What? See, that'd be nice to have access to. Caster Nero. Unfortunately, if I leave out of here, she'll be gone. Since we don't have access to Noble Phantasm, she wouldn't be that helpful to us. But it'd be nice to get access to this list. Never mind, she's really the only thing worthwhile on there, event-wise. Okay. Probably take David out, put Seed on 9. Marsh getting her MP wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Robin's not particularly useful, but we need him for bonus points. Do we even have? No, we don't have another. Yeah, so we only have the 3 event servers. Right. She's not going to be the best damage, unfortunately, but this would be a good opportunity to work Hans in. See, it's unfortunate that we have to keep Heracles in our party, or just swap him out for Hans willy-nilly. But he's kind of important. It's important to get his bond up really quickly, so he can turn into real Heracles. Well, we'll just see what Marsh can do. She's quite gamped to support wise, since her fair skill isn't upgraded yet, and her skills aren't particularly leveled, just because while her mats aren't the worst, they are pretty rough on you early on.
行きます先輩
See, 7 turn cooldown, 8 turn bloody. We're gonna do our defense up at least.
頑張ります
できる男の余裕というやつよ。今日はオフ
The sad thing is, all of the cooldowns are so bloody high.
というやつよ。
We need to get some game going. Whatever, we'll try to take out this one at least first.
手本を見せてやろう。
One thing you can do is we should actually probably save that for now. We,
やっちゃうね
目を離すなよ。
慌てない慌てない
Ash's NP right now is purely defensive. It does get an upgrade later in the story, but wait, we got a gold drop. Oh, right. Either these particular tickets count as gold drops. I had forgotten.
球児、
はい
シャンパンタワーの用意だ。
Okay, wave 2. At the very least, we have much stouter HP levels now. Well, for the most part. So random are yes, this bugger.
慌てない慌てない
Okay, can I has crit? Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's an annoyance. These things are really bothersome because they can do that and give you MP seal. Of course, luckily it only lasts a turn, but they can spam it to where you MP sealed every bloody turn. So we can actually do this
発します
for this turn to prevent it from doing that.
行きますはい
Using her taunt also supercharges her MP gain. Like, watch how quickly it goes up even at level 1. And we do that purely... Yeah, that's unfortunate. We did that purely to get everyone's MP. Now we can go ahead and end this fast.
了解ですやっちゃうねや
What? Hopefully, yeah. What do those drop? Alright, the tallow. Nothing particularly worthwhile. We probably should have waited a turn on that actually. Oh well. Anything to make sure we get this fight over with. Now, Carskill, we're actually a very safe team, come to think of it. Just because
よしよし白は偉いねステータス頑張ります
できる男の余裕というやつよ。
oh, this is a waste of a battery. I forgot she had a
み
battery.
んな
She actually got both buffs. That's we take those. That had a pretty low activation chance. Alright. juice up MP. But so Marsh's NP is going to give us big defense up, damage cut, and then his is also going to increase our defense for 3 turns. So this is actually quite the tanky team we've got going here.
その目に焼き付けるがよい。
ホーグ展開します。
This is the first time we've used Marsh's NP, isn't it? That's why it's going so slowly.
矢を構えよ。
And unfortunately, even though he's NP3, his damage is
守りを見せるがいい。
pretty negligible at the moment. Oh. Actually, I guess I take it back. That was fine. It is unupgraded, so it's not the worst. Okay, we almost won. Yeah, this is a bit of a bugaboo. She can evade when we don't have the sure hit. Ah, the big sad. So we just waste this time.
はいやっちゃうね。
Wait, is this one of the... Is this a one-turn evader, a certain amount of hits? Okay, it's a one-turn. I couldn't remember.
参ります。
You rarely see her for whatever reason. Well, I know the reason.
やっちゃうね。
She's
行きます。
unfortunately not super strong, and she's story locked behind a particularly annoying story as well, in an embodiment of Remnant. So there's a chance that you never unlock her. Hey, we got an hero proof. Unfortunately, we're going to be getting less tickets because we don't have summon CE, a summoning campaign craft essence that boosts these. It's good to get those. Very good to get those. Well, at least we know this particular party can handle that fight pretty handily. So I think we'll do one more free quest and then we'll call it a stream, just because I need to I need to eat for one. That would be quite a handy thing to do. Another copy of Giorgio's. I keep forgetting to turn off the auto ban
ちゃんの今日から覚え。今日ものんびり始め。
fours, fortunately. Now, if only those 2 extra copies of him would have been Hans instead. Like MP3 is a lot more reliable. You still, MP5 is what you want, and even that's just 80% chance a piece for each of the buffs. They have their own separate 80% chance at MP5. Right now, I'm actually not certain what the chance is, but it's pretty sad.
仕上がりは
So we'll do one more of these. So yeah, today was just a shorter stream. Well,
容赦しないけど
I got carried away as I usually do, but it was intended to be a shorter stream to just show you, teach you a little about the event and how they go, how this one goes. So now we're going to go ahead and use this, since I remembered it was a battery.
みんなよろしくね
Now neither buff hit, that's the much more likely occurrence.
できる男の余裕というやつよ。今日は
Let's go ahead and get the
まった
cooldowns rolling.
というやつよ。
See, this is where having Tamamo is really handy, because she can lower those cooldowns really quickly.
慌てないよ
シャンパンタワーの用意だ。手本を見せてやろう。オフだ。
Or random crits. Speaking of random crits,
やっちゃうねはい
目を
慌て
離すなよ。
ない慌てない
まだまだ物足りん。
はい
目を離すなよ。手本を見せてやろう。
okay. So there we go, triple buster here in an effort to
はい
ボトルでも
quickly
入れておくか。
慌てない
pop that bugger down. He does hit pretty hard, as you can see.
やっちゃうね
目を離す
慌て
なよ。
ない慌てない
まだまだ物足りん。
Those crits are very unwelcome.
よしよし
Going to do this just,
偉いね
it's a bit of a waste, but
目をボトルでも入れておくか。
いいよ
まだまだ物足りん。
so we definitely need to figure out a way
オフだ。
to better, to more quickly take care of this thing. We definitely don't want her to be killed by one of these MPs. It's also unlucky we keep. We could actually use some more busters.
目
Right
を
now.
離すなよ。
やっちゃういいよ
手本を見せてやろう。 オフ。
ステータス頑張ります
I was paranoid because Alter Ego gets bonus damage against the cavalry classes, but she takes regular damage from them. She doesn't get the defensive bonus. So just like Marsh, she takes regular damage. Alright, we still need to try Hans out, see how he works in this group. Let's see if I get these buffs.
シロは偉いね
今日はオフだという。
You know what, I'm not even mad.
よしよしシロは偉いね
That's
で
impressive.
きる男の余裕というやつ。今日はオフだというのに。まったく
Alright.
王の号令は場所を選ばぬ。その目に焼き付けるがよい。
Just in case, we're going to go ahead and get her MP.
矢を構えよ。俺が許す。至高の財をもってウルクの守りを見せるがいい。
Alright, we can't try on. Oh, bugger. She's very so that's twice in a row she's gotten very close to taking her down in a single turn.
シャンパンタワーの用意だ。
It is a shame about the evasion.
まだまだ物足りん。
Otherwise we'd really pop out some damage. I love how low the damage number is because all the defense up and the damage cut. I'll let Marsh have some fun.
次はリゾートホテルを建ててみるか。
That is a nice assassin monument. Fortunately, no assassin to use it on.
Kaisaru さんがの小さなことからいらっしゃい。ささ、ずずい。マナプリズムと交換する？いいとも。では、今回の品物を紹介しよう。
I wonder if I have something I can burn.
まだ見ていくかい？取り返しはつかないものだ。扱い
Well,
に
we
気を
don't
つけ
need
て。
that. Didn't. Well. Normally I'd say definitely keep those, but in this case those are really good if you're limiting yourself to 3-star craft tests. Well, not really good, but they're some of the better value-wise 3-star craft essences because they're full attack and they buff up whatever your main card is if you're properly matching them to the right units at least. I'm going to grab a couple more of these because, if you'll recall, we have... I actually had forgotten about this. Oops. Got her fast ascension. Now, welfares are a bit different from regular units. They never change their outfit, except on a very rare occasion where they just have an alternate outfit. But that's very rare, and it's typically something very minor, like Nagao has just a hood she can put on, and otherwise looks the same. So now, just like before,
より
We gingerly make our way up to level 50.
よ
Still kind of amused at how unlucky we're getting with no crits. Doesn't particularly matter though, since she's getting double anyway. But it is amusing.
より
And of course you'll do this to us game kind of way. Oh,
より強くよりうまく
it's saved like 1 or 2. So now she's starting to get a bit stouter.
仕上がり
If in a pinch we need her. Okay. So it's been a very basic opening for the event, an overview of the event. So just keep on doing this. Again, check out Game Press's Grand Order event guides, but don't pay much attention to what they say about servants. Don't take it as gospel, rather. Especially the tier list, it can be pretty laughable. But the event guides are fine. Give you a nice template to go through. And besides that, hope you enjoyed, and next time we'll continue playing the event. So, till then, enjoy. See you next time.